Hey guys, Johnlocks here, back with well, this is a review. This is a review of Earth Defense Force Iron Rain. So this was released in 2019. It's about $60 on Steam, and we'll get into it in a second. But first, would I recommend this game? And the answer is no. I would only recommend it if you've played like every other Earth Defense Force game out there, and you've played them so much that you're sick of them and you want something that's EDF but new. In that case, sure, play this one. Basically, it's the reason why I wouldn't recommend it is it's kind of painfully generic. It's mediocre with it's mediocre borderline bad. And then they added kind of mobile monetization to it, so you could purchase the currencies that are used in the game and which you use to unlock the weapons. And then on top of that, they basically took everything else EDF, and with the exception of the graphics, made it worse. So I mean, honestly, if I had to recommend anything, I'd recommend EDF 5 instead of this. If you haven't played any of the EDF games before, I mean, I don't play a lot of third-person shooters, but it's basically a horde shooter from what I understand. It's, a third-person shooter. It's over the shoulder. And then and it's kind of like Starship Troopers. You shoot a bunch of bugs and robots and alien stuff. And at least traditionally, the series is known for more of like a B-movie thing with, kind of like the 60s B-movie vibes with like the giant ants and we have to stop them, the bad voice acting and stuff. But let's go through it. I'll kind of walk you through some of the stuff, and then I'll show you a sample mission. And I've put about, I think I picked this up for $15, give or take. And yeah, and just looking at that loading screen, that loads every time you go in or out of the menus. And just seeing that weird, presumably that's our transport, you're like, why all the different colors? Why does it look, for some reason I saw that in Fortnite popped into my mind, even though I've never played it. You have campaign, mercenary, or database. Mercenary is just your online. Online is dead. It's the beginning of 2023. There is nobody. 0 people. Database, it's kind of neat, shows your stats, but also enemy records, all the different ants, and if you kill a certain number, and like I guess that one requires 9, and then it unlocks the description, which is kind of a neat thing. I do appreciate that, but it's like, I mean, whatever. Combat records, all your different mission stats, which I also appreciate. Totals, just general stats, I guess. I guess maybe one of the best ways I could sum up this game is, if you were going to play a third-person shooter, would you want to have more clothing customization options, or would you want to have more weapons? The reason I ask that is because if it's a game about shooting stuff, anything not focused on that is a misallocation of priorities, right? You can kind of summarize everything by that decision alone. And they have a ton of clothing options, more than there are weapons, as far as I'm aware. That's a problem. That's a problem, and that kind of is the essence of why I wouldn't recommend the game. Alright, so this is my character. I guess let's kind of go through, so customizations, there you go. You have all sorts of different clothing, upper body, lower body, facial accessories, head. You can see in the upper right, there's like 4 types of currency. There's money and 3 different gems, gold, red, and blue. I mentioned the mobile monetization thing. That's what you need. That's what you need to unlock all of these clothing things. Clothing, I think, just requires money, but whatever. Weapons. So that's one of the first big negative. Well, okay, I don't know if it's a negative or not. Traditionally in EDF games, when you kill enemies, they have a chance of dropping crates. Whether it's armor, weapons, or health. You know, health that you get just heals you during battle. Weapons and armor have a chance. Weapons have a chance to unlock a weapon you don't have. I mean, if they're a weapon you've already got, then, you know, it's useless. Except now in EDF 5, that gives you a chance to upgrade the weapon that you've already acquired. Whereas an armor permanently increases your health, basically. In this, you don't have it anymore. Enemies drop those gems, which you need to grab, so you still have to pick up stuff. But the way that you unlock the weapons is you get a weapon depending on the first time you complete a mission for each difficulty, and after a certain number of kills for every enemy. Excuse me. And in fact, killing like 1,000 enemies is how you get the best weapons, apparently.
Yeah.
And
how's your finances going?
And you could see some of this. It does look like there's a large number of weapons, but like, look at this one, okay? Damage 8, ammo 60, firing range 180. I mean, you look at that and you're like, that's fine. If you know, you don't really know. The problem is, but these are all the same type of weapons. Okay, let's look at the one I'm using. Damage of 24. It's a tier D weapon. It goes from E to AA. E, D, C, B, A, AA. No S. S is AA. Same thing. My current weapon I'm using does damage of 24. A higher tier weapon does 8, has less ammo, has a shorter range, less shots per second, a little bit better reload time. But the gimmick is that there's a 0.1 probability of 33,000 damage for the one bullet. Which is fine, you can have weird weapons like that, but they're all kind of like this. Like, there's no real useful weapons. Like, this is it's a bouncing bullet, which seems fine because they've had that in previous games. Except there's no accuracy. It's like a shotgun. Except it's a machine gun, so the bullets just go like this, and then they bounce everywhere. And you're like, well, okay. And they all kind of suck like that, you know? You always have to make these choices. Like, I unlocked these two weapons. This one sniper rifle does like almost 1,000 damage, but you have to reload every shot, and it takes 10 seconds to reload. Which is fine as a second weapon. Except this one, 87 damage, 15 rounds, 600 range, so a little bit less, 4-second reload time. So it fires, you basically hold down the trigger, it fires 3 rounds, and then it, 3 shots per second until it's out, and then it takes 4 seconds to reload. Hello, Jack, are you coming up here? And the problem with these things is, like, does it say where? Oh, there you go. So just these require 8,000 gold, 60 gold gems, 24 blue gems. Jack's right here. He's in the way. Do we have? What's the? I mean, you have plenty of. But then you get to like these B tier weapons. 110,000, 360 red gems, and like 1,000 blue gems. And that's for one weapon. So you're going to be grinding if you want to unlock all of these. And then a lot of the time, they're not even really worth it. I mean, there is a good variety of weapons. Miniguns, energy throwers, which are flamethrowers, railguns, satellite weapons. Plenty of weapons. Also, They're like, oh, here's a DLC thing. You know, enemies are bullet sponges. This is a good weapon. Wink, wink. You know, you could purchase the DLC to get these weapons, and then you can also purchase the gems that you need to unlock them all. It's like, come on. The biggest thing for me is, like I said, the game is very bland. I mean, if you're just looking to turn your brain off and have shoot bugs, you could do that. It's fine. If you got it as a gift, or you've already purchased it and it's past the refund date, it's fine. If you're used to previous EDF games, this one doesn't have classes. It just has armor. So the armor I'm using now is the closest to the fencer. And then there is a flying one. There's like the trooper one that, oh yeah, dodging, like the dodge roll. That's a special ability now, dependent to the specific armor that you're wearing. It's actually, the game itself is more set up like Insect Armageddon, if you ever played that one. But the worst offense to me is that this is a game that is full of good ideas that are disappointingly executed. So what they did was, you have, oh, well, first off, practice mode, so you can actually test out your weapons and stuff. Awesome. That's a good idea that was implemented properly. Sweet. Thumbs up. Right? Items. If, like, imagine you want to be a wing diver in other games, but you want to be able to call in an artillery strike. You could do that in this one. They got rid of the air raider class completely and basically just put it all into items. So now you have, well, grenades. I don't know why. All the different grenades. You have trap weapons like landmines and stuff. You can call in vehicles. Field support. I'm not sure what these are. Different stuff. Dummies. Healing things. Resurrection devices. Oh, I guess the grenades are your artillery. That makes sense. Oh, no, that's field support. Sorry. Now, the other thing is, they've sort of, for every good idea, because I think this is an interesting idea, for every good idea they have, they disincentivize it, or they screw it up somehow. In this case, it costs money to use. Not real, like, US American dollars, but money as in the, whatever coins that is, that I have in the upper right corner, the 156,000. This one costs 1,400. You go through a mission, and you get rated. Based on your rating is how much money you get at the end of it. This costs money, and it also reduces your rank. So not only does using it give you less money, then it costs, because it lowers your rank, but then it also costs money to use. So it's like you don't want to use it because you need the money to unlock stuff, and also everything's under nested menus, by the way. And also because the way that you get extra health or extra armor or whatever is by purchasing it with money. So 22,000 for the next one, then it like doubles, almost 500,000, almost 750,000, then a little bit over 1 million, almost 2 million, 3 million, 2.5, whatever. And that's the maximum. 10,000 health is the maximum you're gonna get. I've played one of the most difficult levels. Here it's disaster. Normally it's inferno. I did one of those. It wasn't too bad because I did the first level, but I could potentially see if you're struggling, 10,000 might be a problem, or only 10,000. So, yeah. The other big disappointment I would have, in addition to the items, disincentivizing those, would be, shit, I'm saying a lot, but it's whatever. the other big thing is the story, which I know story is not super important to an EDF game. It's campy, it's generic, whatever. Somehow they screwed up the story as well. They made it... They messed up the tone completely because they made the story more serious, but your squad members, they're goofier when they talk. So it's like you get to a mission and you're talking about how the EDF basically let a bunch of civilians die. They just left them to die. And then your party members are like, man, I lost a bunch of money on the ant races earlier today. And you're like, what? And then, oh, maybe we're just a mercenary army, blah, blah, blah. And then, oh, I'm afraid of ghosts. It's like, the tone is all over the place, and it doesn't work. But that's something, the story, I thought that they really had potential with. Because if you've played EDF games in the past, you'll do 100 missions. EDF 5, I think, had 100. EDF 4 had like 80 or 90. It's almost 100. And those don't take place over a short period of time. It's like a period of several years. You just don't get that scale while you're playing through the game. You're only seeing it as a soldier where everything kind of blurs together. In this one, they're actually talking about the effects of the war. There's a person on the radio. I thought it was actually kind of a neat thing. This is going to be a bit spoilery, but whatever. It's like the cheery propaganda radio. It's like, hey, troops, how you guys doing? Blah, blah, blah. And like 2/3 through the campaign, she's like, hey, guys, how you doing? Da, da, da. And then she starts talking in a real voice. She's like, I can't do this anymore, guys. I'm done. And it's like, you're the propaganda radio. The fact that you're quitting is a bad sign, right? But they don't do anything with that. They actually make a joke, and it's the only time I laughed in the whole game using that. But they had a real chance to actually show you the effects of the war, because they talk about how the quality of the food is getting worse and excuse me, and all these issues. And I was like, oh, are they actually going to do something with it? No, they don't. And that's the big problem with the game, is they have all these really interesting ideas, and they just fall flat, or they screw them up, or they disincentivize them, like with the items. So that's basically the review. But let's real fast do assign Blast Team the first mission. I'll just kind of show you that real fast. Something else. Well, I've been grinding this one on easy, because to get the first enemy, the Storm Ant, if you get 2,500 kills with that, you get one of the best weapons in the game. And it doesn't matter what difficulty you get it on. And so it takes me about 4 to 5 minutes to get through this on easy, and it gives me 70 kills every single time. And so I'm like, maybe I should grind that out. And then maybe play some of the other missions and see how it is with the best weapon in the game. So let's do it. God damn, excuse me. So yeah, the fourth thing that drops is green energy gems, which heal you. But we'll skip this little cutscene. We'll skip our dudes. Another complaint is there's like 20 or 30 party members or cast members, and they all talk, and they constantly talk during battle. Normally in EDF games, they would wait for pauses in the combat. No, they talk constantly. And I will say it's kind of, maybe it's a good thing where they just
have our mission. Save your quarreling for another time.
They just shove you right into the action, and the missions are fairly short. And they're trying to give characterization to your party members. Like, I don't know if you heard that because I was talking, but they're basically some of your your squad members are quarreling. They're talking about BS, and they're trying to give them characterizations and make them endearing, and there are so many people, and they were talking to you so much that I was just like, I don't care. We get to the end, the final mission, and you know how EDF games do the whole power of friendship thing. At some point, everyone comes back together. They're like, we'll support the Storm team, even though it's dangerous or whatever. Here they do that, and people are coming in, and they're like, it's me, and your party members are like, you. I'm like, who? Who are you again? I'm like, I don't think you ever met.
Ants! Kill them from the air! Blast the opening!
I will say there are some good things about it. About the game. There are some good things about the game. This is our run. So in the lower right, it's our energy. This is the fencer dude, so he's basically so slow, and running costs energy. Anything more than a walk costs energy. He also has 2 weapons, which is why I like him. Like I said, there are some good things. The enemy designs, I think, are fantastic. The Hive, very cool. You only see this like 3 times in the game. You know, it's not like other games where there's constantly, you have to defeat the spawning stuff. I mean, you get that, but it's the carrier ships from above. Also, what was he shooting at? Your AI is totally useless.
There are enemies remaining. Eliminate all enemies.
The ants often don't even attack them. See? He's shooting that, but I think that's just a coincidence. There's so much bad about the game. They just randomly shoot. They shoot walls. They walk in the way when you're trying to do explosive stuff. But yeah, as far as like things that I like the enemy designs. I like some of the visual aesthetic. The lighting is nice. Some of the enemy designs are really fantastic. There's a turtle robot, which I'm like that's great. It's kind of a shame that they use, even though the enemy designs are good, they do the palette swaps like way too much. There's like these ants, there's like 4 different kinds. The spiders, I like the design, but again, they just palette swap it. Something that's neat as well is enemies have multiple forms of attack. Right, so you have, you know how you have red ants which bite you? See, what are you shooting at?
Welcome to Blast. I'm Captain Takuma Yagami.
You have enemies like the gray ants that spit and the red ants that grab. Here, your regular ant will both spit and knock you down. Oh, let's skip this.
What the?
This is the Hector, basically, or colonist or whatever.
Looks like a discarded one has reacted to.
All right. And then you get a certain amount of time to get all the gems at the end.
All enemy forces eliminated. Don't forget to collect energy gems.
You haven't lost your touch. Unfortunately, the
Yep.
battle continues even now. After you took down the hive craft, the giant creatures continue to breed and multiply. The situation's much different than it was 7 years ago, but I'm counting on you, hero.
He said that really sarcastically.
Frost here. Roger that.
There we go. More gems. Yeah, so even though the enemies are designed well and they have multiple attacks, which I think is really neat, there's very few of them, and they palette swap them, you know. See, there you go. We got like 5,000. And this is on the easiest mode. You get more as it's harder difficulties, but You also get more gems on harder difficulties as well, so you basically kind of have to grind harder difficulties to unlock the harder weapons. It's kind of like a weird workaround. Although it's like for every idea they have, they could do it well, and you're like, oh, that's kind of interesting. But then they're like, no, we're going to implement it in the poorest way possible. But I think a lot of this stuff was, they're like, how can we monetize this? How can we sell? Can we sell these gems? Let's sell these gems. Let's sell currency. Pay real money for fake digital currency to unlock stuff. It's like, we'll make the enemies, we'll raise the graphics. Well, then we can't have as many enemies. So we'll make them bullet spongier. Oh, but we'll do that so we could sell the DLC weapons as well, which are stronger. It's like, everything's a trade-off, and that's why I'm just like, if you got it as a gift or you purchased it way back when, it's fine. It's fine. There are some good things. It's fine to turn your brain off to and shoot bugs, and enemy designs are neat, and the fact that they have multiple forms of attack is kind of neat, but it's underutilized. It's like, hey, each enemy we have has multiple things of attack, and they're fairly well animated. But we only have like 8 to 10 enemies. It's like, all right, so that is it. That is all. And then at the end of every episode, you see your strange little Fortnite transport.
This is UNN, the Universal News Network, on the battlegrounds. Early this morning, EDF carried out an extermination operation of the giant creatures near San Francisco. We are told that the soldier who destroyed the Hivecraft in the major battle 7 years ago was a part of this mission. After 7 years, will our hero become the light of hope who brings a bright future for mankind? Universal News Network signing off.
Yes, that's us.
Well, look who's newsworthy over here. Who the hell sold our intel? Mike, was it you? Ha ha, very funny.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Hey, you swore you'd never bring that up.
So one of your own teammates on a special forces team sold your intel. He's a leaker. It's like, you're not really endearing me to these people. It's like, and they want to give them character, but they don't follow through. It's like they start and then they don't finish. It's very, like I said, I don't know. Where are we at as far as enemies defeated? Storm Ant 1600, so I need another 900, 850, give or take. Where'd the 4 come from? Well, anyway. Trying to think of anything else I need to say. I think I've said enough, maybe even too much, because it's like, I wanted to be quick. I wanted to do this in like 10 minutes, but I like to talk. And, okay, so half hour has passed, basically. But, like I said, there's some good things. There's a lot of really interesting ideas that you're like, oh, that could be really interesting. That could work. And then they're like, just kidding, we screwed it up. Oh, you want to see more of the effects of the war? Oh, no. No, we're not going to show you that. We're going to mention it, so you think we're going to bring it up, and then we're just going to not. And then it's like, oh, we could, give these guys character, which, again, could be kind of interesting. Give all your party members characters. But no. And then it's like, you have a bunch of, like, relatively short missions. Because I beat the game in, like, 12 hours. I did all 50 missions in like 12 hours, and that was with, like you saw Jack up here earlier, that was with the cats doing that constantly. So you can run through this game. But I guess that's it. That's my recommendation is no. Basically no. But it's, if you've already got it, it's worth a playthrough just so you can kind of see the interesting ideas that didn't come to fruition, I guess. But that's it. That's all for today, guys. Thank you guys so much for your time and attention. If you watch this, if you made it all the way through, I really do appreciate it. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, good, bad, or indifferent, let me hear them. I do read all of them. I do respond to all of them, assuming they're not memory holed. YouTube, I've noticed memory holds about 40% of the comments. And if you're on BitChute, I mean, I respond to the BitChute ones as well, although BitChute's not a long-term solution because they don't archive stuff. That said, that's it for today. I hope to see you guys next time. Till then, guys, take care.